Back to the story on the Gautrain, as South Africa's first and only rapid rail network, renowned for its efficiency, safety and convenience, is celebrating 15 years of existence. Gautrain was launched on the 8th of June in 2010 when the first ride left Sandton Station for OR Tambo Station. Since its launch in 2010, the Gautrain project has successfully completed over 200 million passenger trips. To talk more about the last 15 years and what the future holds, we're joined by Gautrain Management Agency CEO Tshepo Kgobe. A very good evening to you. Thank you for your time. 15 years ago on this very day, the Gautrain ride left Sandton Station for OR Tambo and it's still on track. What a milestone. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot to us, and thank you for having me. To us, it means that the thought that we had 15 years ago and even probably 19 years ago, because that was when the Gautrain actually started off 19 years back. The idea was correct, and it meant that Gauteng needed it, and we will continue to be on track for the next 15 years.
As you mark 15 years of operation, I know that you're now prioritizing accessibility and inclusivity. Is there a shift from the initial market? Many would have associated the Gautrain as an exclusive high-speed train accessible only to a selected few.
It was never ever meant to be exclusive, but it was meant to be able to cater to a particular niche. And let's go back to it clearly with the statistics that you need to know. Congestion is a middle class problem. If you do not remove the cars that are driven by those who fall in that category off the road, you will continue to have a highly congested province. We have shown that the speeds on the freeway at the current moment have grind down to about 26.5 kilometers an hour. So real speeds between Brakfontein interchange and Batlu in the morning at peak hour, that's how fast you're going. So if you do not resolve that problem, you will not be able to, and we needed to actually create a service that will cater for that particular class of people that generally would take their car rather than use public transport.
So how are you breaking down the different target markets to ensure accessibility?
So in actual fact, what we're doing, we've launched our new product called Clever Mover, and that Clever Mover, you know, it's a nice play on thinking about getting people to move in a very clever way, in the sense that we have reduced our pricing by 50%, and that's for people who earn less than 350,000 rands a year, and that's a whole lot of the market out there that actually could be able to access the Gautrain. But beyond that, we've also made sure that our parking will go down to 1 rand a day, because a lot of people would always say, I don't mind taking the Gautrain, but the cost of the parking, you know, it becomes excessive when you add it to the general cost of the usage of the system. And ultimately, in our next move, we will be bringing on the bus coming through at 1 rand. And those are processes that we're putting in place to be able to make sure that it becomes more affordable for a broader spectrum of society.
With the reflection on the past 15 years, what would you say are some of the biggest positive spin-offs with the Gautrain?
So overall, when you think about it, I mean, Gautrain is one of the few companies overall, collectively, that has maintained not only new jobs, but also maintain better jobs across the system. I mean, we have 1,200 people that are fully employed in the system. And if you look at the multiplier effect of companies that do things that we need for the Gautrain to be serviced, we are going easily to in excess of 9,000 people that are related to the Gautrain as a whole. Now, and that means cleaning, security, and a whole lot of other people that are there. So that's the first thing. We've created jobs and sustainable jobs and better jobs. Secondly is we've made sure that the perception about public transport has changed. You ask people, do you take public transport? He says no. But you say, do you take the Gautrain? He says yes. Too, it means to a lot of people, this is not deemed as what they call it, as general public transport, because it we've changed the way you view public transport. Thirdly, we've changed the view of how you think about investing in Gauteng as a whole. And then that is an important issue, because people, when they arrive in OR Tambo, they think of ease of business. One of the things that they think about is the ease of being able to move around in and around the province itself. And we are one of the very few systems that can connect 3 cities at the same time.
And very lastly, before we let you go, I mean, there have been challenges along the way. I mean, cable theft was a huge factor during that course. How have you navigated around such challenges to, flourish as a Gautrain?
So one of the key things that we have with the Gautrain being a public-private partnership, it's about us managing the contract, particularly well. The PPP works very well because government in itself has spent money in making sure that there is a knowledgeable public partner that can then be able to manage the contract between government and the private party. And that is an important issue, because a lot of times people say a system will run better if it's run by the public sector. Yes, it would, but it would run better if it's also managed very well through a public entity that knows what it's doing.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening as we wrap up that discussion with Gautrain Management Agency CEO Tshepo Kgobe, with the Gautrain marking 15 years on this very day.